Hello Tentacrew, and welcome to my Tips of the Tentacle for Remnant from the Ashes. Today, we will be going through the Ultimate Beginner's Guide for the tutorial part of the game up until you are able to free roam through Earth. So after the initial character customization and cutscene, you'll wash up on an island with only a sword. This area will act as a playground to get your movement skills in order and also teach you the nuances of melee combat. Sprinting is done to move faster and also consumes stamina, which you can see below your health bar in the bottom right. Sliding can be done by hitting the crouch button while sprinting to get underneath obstacles or get to cover quickly. It also uses a little bit of stamina. And dodge rolling will be your bread and butter evasion move, used to dodge enemy attacks and also break down barricades when you don't feel like swinging your sword at them. The game will also teach you how to pick up and use healing items, but don't use that quite yet. You're going to need that more here in a second. Making your way up the staircase, you'll come across your first enemy. This is where you'll start to learn how to use your melee weapons. And there are three main ways to use your melee weapon: quick attacks, power attacks, and dash attacks. Quick attacks, as you would assume, are used by hitting the attack button repeatedly to do quick but low damage. Power attacks are done by holding down the attack button and will do increased damage at the cost of leaving you more open to other attacks. Dash attacks can be performed while sprinting and hitting the attack button. This usually gives you a long lunging attack, which can be good to close the gap on enemies. After clearing out these enemies, go ahead and drop down. You will take fall damage, so this is the game's way of telling you that there will be fall damage in the game. Go ahead and take your blood wort now and heal yourself up. Crouch walking is also a viable tactic in this game. Crouching allows you to hide behind cover, break lines of sight with enemies, and be able to sneak up on them. They won't let you sneak up on them in the tutorial, because as soon as you walk through this entryway, they instantly aggro onto you, but later in the game it is a viable tactic, especially if you point into certain traits. These enemies here are stationed farther away, so that to close the gap you'll most likely have to dodge the attack. Do this by performing a dodge roll. There are invincibility frames during this roll, just like a Souls-like, so go ahead and take advantage of those, close the gap, and dispatch these enemies. It should also be noted that performing a dodge button press near a low barricade will allow you to vault over it, and depending on your speed running into it, you will get a different speed of vault. There are no iframes during vaulting though, so be careful of that. Running ahead, you'll see a root summoner appear. You can run up to him, but you'll never be able to attack him, so just go ahead and ignore him, let him spawn the enemies, he will disappear, and dispatch them. It should also be noted here that enemies can friendly fire each other, so sometimes you can use that to your advantage and cause one enemy to do damage to another. Continue pressing forward and dispatching enemies until you reach a cutscene. This means you've completed the first part of the tutorial. If you're not looking to go through the tutorial every time though, or you're just wanting to get straight into the action, you can go ahead and die to any of the enemies here, and it will give you the same result, showing you up in Ward 13.
Hang in there. Hurry up, be okay. We got company. Move!
When you wake up in Ward 13 after talking to the kid, go ahead and get in the habit of smashing every box that you see. Boxes and stuff that look breakable tend to hold scrap in them, and scrap being the currency that runs everything in this game, it is important to get in the habit of gathering as much of it as possible now. After your box smashing, continue up the rafters and go into the commander's room, where she will give you your next tutorial task. Go down to the generators. The reactor room can be found by going back towards the room you spawned in, go to the right and down the staircase. Hang a right at the bottom of the stairs, go ahead and smash the boxes, and move all the way through the next room. Go through the next archway and you'll see a door off to your right. Head towards that. That will be the main staircase heading down to the reactor level. Don't worry about going further down, we will hit on those areas later. Here in the reactor you will get a cutscene and meet Ace, and you will get your first major choice of the game. Which class will you start with? Starting classes in this game don't have a super major impact on the longevity of your character. It's only really going to affect your starting armor, your starting long gun, and your starting traits and mods. Armor, long guns, and mods can all be bought from the merchants after you complete the tutorial. The only thing that is static is the trait, which you will have to find later in the game through certain side quests or events. The first class on the left will be the Hunter. They start off with the Repeater Pistol, Hunting Rifle, and Scrap Sword. Each one of the starter classes starts with the Repeater Pistol, so get used to that. But the two caveats to this class are the Hunting Rifle, which is a long-range precision weapon, and the Scrap Sword, which is the lowest damage of the starter melee weapons, but also the fastest. The weapon mod for the Hunter is the Hunter's Mark, which allows you to see enemies through walls and also gives you an increased chance on performing crits. The Hunter's Armor, as I said, is the lightest armor to start with, also provides the least amount of armor, but it is particularly good at blocking bleed and fire damage, and the early game has quite a bit of that. The Hunter's Armor set provides the bonus Sharpshooter, which gives you bonus damage against weak spots, such as heads or glowing points. Each armor set has its own bonus, and these bonuses are multiplied depending on how many pieces of that armor set you are wearing. This provides another caveat to armor other than just straight up defense. The trait for the Hunter is Shadow Walker, which when points are put into this, decreases the range at which enemies will detect you, allowing you to sneak up closer on enemies or sneak around them entirely. The middle class is the Cultist, which armor provides a middle ground between light and durable, and weapons are best suited for a mid-range combat. The Coach Gun is a double-barrel shotgun that has a tight spread, good for mid-range combat. They also start with the Repeater Pistol, and the Scrap Hatchet, which is, in my opinion, the worst melee weapon out of the starters. It's short range, it only has a 2-hit combo that just cycles infinitely, and the damage isn't that much more impressive than the Scrap Sword, and I think the Scrap Sword has a better moveset and range. The weapon mod for the Cultist is Healing Circle, which allows you to place a circle of healing energy on the ground, and heals you for 100 damage over 10 seconds, which is about a full heal from almost dead. This is better used in a team scenario where you can heal multiple people, but it can also be useful in a solo situation if you get pinned in a corner and just need to be able to tank through the damage while clearing out the wave coming at you. The armor bonus for the Cultist set is Blood Pact, which allows you to gain bonus mod power on crits. Mods are generated by doing damage with a weapon with the mod equipped, and once it is full, then you can use the spell. This allows you to build up that spell faster as long as you're doing crit damage. The trait for the Cultist is Spirit, which when points are put into that, allows you to generate more mod power off damage, effectively increasing how much more spell use you can get out of your spells. The last starting class on the right is the Scrapper, which is going to be your tank class, equipped with heavy armor, a repeater pistol, and a shotgun, as well as a scrap hammer, a giant sledgehammer with powerful, wide-sweeping attacks. The shotgun, like the coach gun, has a spread on it, but its spread is much wider, making it more effective at closer ranges than the coach gun would be, but it holds 7 rounds, giving it more uses before needing to be reloaded. I should also take this time to mention that if you're reloading and then you do a dodge animation, it tends to speed up the reload animation, so I would suggest getting the habit of dodging after reloading. The armor bonus for the scrap armor just increases damage straight up, overall useful for every build. And the mod that the scrapper starts with is Hot Shot, which when charged up allows your weapon to shoot fire bullets for about 30 seconds, giving them 20% increased damage as well as a chance of igniting enemies, causing 100 damage over time. The trait for the scrapper is Warrior, which increases melee damage the more points you put into it. If you're going for a tanky build where you want to get up close and personal and want to just be swinging your weapon, this is the trait for you. I highly suggest picking your starter class based off the trait, since those are going to be the hardest to recover later in the game, as you can just purchase the starter armors and weapons from the vendors, as well as the mods. You will get your armor later, but use this time to test out your long gun and your repeater pistol, get their nuances figured out, and see which ones you like. If you don't like what you're using, you can restart the mission before it finishes, and be able to choose again. If you want to go ahead and skip this part of the tutorial, go ahead and pick whichever class you would like, and then go ahead and die to a mob. This will push you to the next part of the tutorial, and the only difference will be the line that Ace gives you whenever she tells you she's going to give you a discount. Go ahead and make your way back up towards the command room. On your way out, you'll be stopped and given a dragon heart. That's this game's version of an Estus flask. It gives you a straight heal and also refreshes anytime you rest at a crystal. You start off with 3 charges, but you'll gain more as you progress through the game as long as you're looking around for the materials for them. Return to the command room from this point, breaking any boxes you see along the way, and she'll go ahead and tell you to head down to the engineer and the armor smith. These two are found back heading the way towards the reactor, but instead of heading straight through the archway, you head left down the hallway, and then another left will take you into the room with them. Once you hit this hallway, on the right there will be a big group of boxes. Go ahead and smash these now, as once you complete the tutorial they will respawn. You can get the double resources from them. The girl working on the engine will be the one to give you your weapon mods, and then the dude on the left will be the one to give you armor and weapons, as well as upgrading your armors and weapons. Be sure to equip your weapon mod as soon as you get it. I would suggest using it on your long gun, as that will probably be the weapon you'll be using the most, and it will charge it up faster. As for which weapon to upgrade, he'll give you enough scrap and iron to do exactly one upgrade. I would suggest using this on your long gun as well, again, since it will be the weapon you'll most likely be using the most. After upgrading your weapon, you'll finally be granted your class's armor set, so go ahead and check that out, see what it does for you, see if you like it. Try dodge rolling. Each weight of armor set gives you a different dodge roll speed. After you complete the next section of the tutorial, you can come back to these two and purchase the other weapons and armor that you might have missed from the other classes, as well as the weapon mods that come with those classes. Once you're outfitted, once again head up to the command room, and she will give you a key to unlock the crystal and allow you to teleport to the first part of the actual game. But the tutorial's not over yet. After firing up the crystal, you'll finally be able to teleport to your first area on Earth. This will be the Founder's hideout. Go ahead and teleport there now. Once at the hideout, head upstairs and you'll find a few usable items, such as oil skin tonic, which will be used to cure root rot, as well as a Ward 13 keycard. There will also be notes scattered around giving you bits of lore as you go. Go ahead and read those if you're interested. From this point forward, you're able to go out into the main world and proceed with the rest of the game. But before we do that, we have some things we need to do back at Ward 13. Head back into the main room, and to the left of the table you will see a bookshelf. Go ahead and smash that and it will unlock a hidden area. In here you'll find more lore, a lump of iron, and as well as a 2-piece armor set called the Wanderer set. This armor is a mid-weight armor set that decreases the amount of stamina usage from dodge rolling, sprinting, and sliding. This set is horrible against bleed though, so keep that in mind. Go ahead back to the crystal and teleport back to Ward 13. We have a Ward 13 keycard. Let's go find some places to use it, shall we? Once in Ward 13, head back towards where you went to go to the reactor, but instead of stopping at the reactor area, go ahead and head down to the next floor. There will be a keycard slot on this door. Go ahead and use it and open it up into the observation wing of Ward 13. Directly to the right of the door you come into will be a purple item. It'll be a Tome of Knowledge. This gives you a free trait point, which you can put into any of your traits. Go ahead and hold on to that for now, as we will probably be using it on a trait we will be acquiring very soon. The first room on your left heading down the hallway will have a computer with some lore in it, but if you push forward to the second room on the left, you will find a tape recorder. Go ahead and turn that on and listen, and it will give you the trait Elder Knowledge, as well as some really interesting audio. This is the trait I would suggest putting your points into first, as this trait gives you increased experience gains from all sources. Increased experience gains early means putting points into this trait early will give you the quickest trait acquisition throughout the game. It may make your early game harder since you won't be putting your points into stamina, health, or damage, but it will make the mid and late game that much more quicker to get to. Push to the door at the end of the hallway on the left to find a fuse laying on the ground. This will come in handy later. After acquiring this, go ahead and explore the rest of the ward, finding more consumables such as more bloodwort for healing, and more oilskin tonic for that root rot you will inevitably get on Earth. In the next hallway, you'll find a door on the left that cannot be opened, but there is a convenient window. This is a point where you can learn that you can jump through most windows, gaining entrance to rooms that you might not have been able to get to before. Go ahead and do that. Inside you'll find bandages, which you can use to stop bleeding, and an ammo box, which will completely restore both your primary and secondary weapons ammo reserves, extremely useful for long boss fights. Continue down the hallway, finding more lore and consumables along the way, until you reach a locked door. This door requires a key, so keep it in the back of your mind for now, and exit this section of the floor. Back towards the stairs, and then head down to the next level. This will lead you to the research wing. At the end of the hallway, you will find a door with a keycard slider, but the power's not on. On the left down the hallway, you should have seen a fuse box. Go ahead and plug the fuse you found earlier in, and light this place up. After the power is on, the keycard slider should work just fine, so go ahead and make your way through. To the left, going through the door, you'll find a giant spinning fan. If you look inside, you'll see a cutout where somebody has made a room. But if you do walk into this fan, you will die, so let's not do that. To get to this room, go back to the fuse box and shut the power off. This will turn the fan off, allowing you easy access to that room. Inside, you will find Frenzied Dust, which when thrown on the ground increases your move speed and reload speed, an ammo box, and a master key. Haven't we seen a locked door before? But don't go there now. Let's continue exploring the research floor. Explore every room of the research floor until you find the bloodwort, ammo box, and eventually at the end the Tome of Knowledge, giving you another trait point, and plug it into the trait of your choice. And then we can head back up to the second floor and make our way to the door that was locked before. On your way out, you can go ahead and turn the power back on. We may return here later and need the power on, so no reason not to do it now, as we won't need the power off anymore at this point of the game. Make your way back to the locked door and go ahead and open it to find bloodwort and your first secondary weapon, an SMG, one of the best secondary weapons in my opinion in the game. And I would highly suggest putting your hot shot on this weapon, as the high rate of fire makes the ignite chance significantly more likely. And that will conclude the ultimate beginner's guide to Remnant from the Ashes. At this point you can go back through the crystal and head out into Earth, taking out the route along the way. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit a like, and stick around. We will be doing more Remnant from the Ashes videos coming forward, so go ahead and hit the sub button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of them. Much love, Crew.